Yeah, Club God, hold up.
This is Rebecca, Miss PR, and you're listening to Blaze Up Radio, brought to you by DJC Alpha and True Illuminati LLC. Today on Get Your Life, we are going to discuss domestic violence and the stereotypes before, during, after, what people think domestic violence is. Some people just think that it's about physical abuse. Some people think it only affects women, and we're here to discuss the many levels of it. On the Justice Department defines domestic violence as physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, economic abuse, and psychological abuse. Many levels of control, and if anybody's trying to keep your finances from you so you can't pay your bills, sexually abusing you, I don't think that needs to be defined. And emotional abuse, telling you that nobody's ever going to want you, you're never going to be able to leave them, you're not going to be able to take care of yourself, instilling fear in you to where you can't move on and have a productive life and ultimately get your life. Maybe you haven't experienced this, and I hope you haven't, but maybe you know somebody who is going through it and you don't know how to help them. And just tell them, if you have a drinking problem and you tell somebody, I can't stop drinking, and they look at you and say, just stop. That's not the answer. That's not enough. And it ultimately is going to make you want to go have another drink. So we don't want to further this problem by saying, just stop, just get out. There is no just. There are things before and there are things during and things after, and there are actually steps to it. And there are warning signs leading up to domestic violence. So in the studio today, we have DJC Alpha.
Yada.
We have his beautiful sister, Anitra.
Hello.
And we have 2Cav.
Yes, indeed.
So opening up the floor to discuss domestic violence and how, is there anybody who has experienced it themselves or knows somebody who has gone through it, and how has it impacted their life or yours?
Oh boy, this is a hot subject. I've experienced it a lot. Just watching different relationships as a child growing up, you know what I mean? Watching some of the things that my mom went through, you know what I mean? She was in a couple marriages that were very abusive, verbally, physically, you know what I mean? Emotionally, financially. So I have a history with it there, and growing up, as a younger man, you know what I mean, haven't actually committed the offense myself on a few occasions, you know what I mean. So I kind of know both sides of it, you know what I mean.
And you were a kid when you had witnessed it with your mom.
Right.
So there are some kids that will either grow up to be an abuser, and there are some kids that grow up and take the extreme opposite side and become saviors. And sometimes either one isn't necessarily healthy. Which side would you say that you did? And did you come to a balance and find your balance on that?
Well, of course, I'm still, I'm not that person that I used to be. I'm older now, you know what I mean? A lot more calmer, a lot more rational. So definitely a lot of change there. Not the same person, but I think really with me, one of the things that helped me realize something was, first having experienced it, watching my mom go through it, and then, like I say, actually have been, you know, an offender myself, doing it myself, you know, I had to stop and look at it, you know what I mean? Look at it from the perspective of, you know what I mean, thinking about what my mom went through, then thinking about, how I am appearing to this person, you know what I mean, while I'm in this fit of rage, you know what I mean? And, you know, someone said something to me one day that really made me check myself. And it was, you protect me from everyone, but who's going to protect me from you? You know what I mean? And that was one of those things, because I mean, I'm the type of person, I don't believe in fearing people. I don't fear no person who walks on 2 feet like me. So you can't thread me with another person and think that's going to make me calm down. That's actually going to make me turn up more.
Mm-hmm.
But when to stop and think about that, you know what I mean, to rationalize that, like, damn, you know what I mean, that's real. Ooh, because sometimes things can go too far, you know what I mean, and you end up hurting someone that you really didn't mean to, you know what I mean?
Right.
So
I'll play devil's advocate a lot and flip the script a little bit. So it could be that you were just having a bad day and she didn't do anything, and she said to you, and then you lashed out, and she says, "Who's going to protect me from you?" But playing devil's advocate on the other side, there are those times where a woman can do everything in their power, or a man, it can go either way, and do everything in their power to provoke you to a point of lashing out, whether it's verbally or physically, and then turn around and manipulate you with words like, "See, you just want to hurt me, and who's going to protect me from you?" Just to clarify that on either side, because I know there's people out there saying, "But you don't understand." We understand. There's two sides to it, and there are definitely women who lie and say they're getting hit and abused, and they're not, and they want to. And that's another form of abuse, though, where they're trying to trap the man and make him feel stuck, and that is not okay as well. So I just wanted to bring
yeah,
that up for a minute.
yeah, and I mean, really, I finally matured and reached that level of understanding where it's like, I understand that abuse is abuse. It doesn't matter if it's physical. It doesn't matter if it's mental, emotional, spiritual, financial. Any level of abuse is abuse, and it's not acceptable. So, I started learning how to really rationalize my arguments or my heated conversations to, really, like, okay, look, this, you know, arguing about what is it about, what is it really that's the agitator here, you know what I mean?
Ultimately, you weren't happy in whatever relationship it was.
Right, and it's when you're stuck because that things aren't working, but then when you say, you know what, I'm gonna do something else, then yeah, you get hit with a guilt trip. And for me, that's like, okay, that was abusive to me. And the thing is, if you don't know how to vocalize that, then you become frustrated. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times that's where it goes wrong at, because you don't know how to express it. Look, man, the shit you're doing right now is like really fucking me up. And I think that it's better that, you go over there and I go over here, because where we're going, this is not going to be good for
Well,
anyone.
and what's worst case scenario? Say that you're a man who hasn't been taught that it's not okay to hit women, and you're in a heated argument, and you get frustrated, and you swing. What is worst case scenario in that example?
I'd like to interject and say that for me, just knowing that C Alpha has two nieces that lost their dad because of domestic violence, because of a situation where an argument turned into him wanting to leave a girlfriend that he had been with for 6 months and didn't really know her that well, but because she had anger issues and she had a history of being aggressive and assault history, had stabbed someone previously, he didn't make it out alive. And at what point do you say a hit goes from being hit into now fist punches to the face to being stabbed or shot?
Mm-hmm.
How do you know what the other person is going to do when it comes to controlling themselves? You can't predict what this person may do. You can stop yourself and say, you know, I'm going to leave. I'm not going to hit her again, or I need to leave for a few minutes and, you know, regroup or whatever. But not everybody can do that.
That she's speaking on too, that's real, because I've been in a couple situations where I wanted to leave and I was physically stopped from leaving, you know, where it's jumping in front of the door and scratching me and hitting me. And I mean, it's like, you know, I'm doing everything that I can not to hit you back, you know what I mean? Because I know if I hit you, I'm going to hurt you. But it's like,
and as a man, what are the stereotypes on that? I mean, a woman jumps in front of you, they're screaming, they're cussing you out, they're hitting you, they're throwing things at you. You're standing there telling them to stop because you know that if you hit them, there's going to be consequences for it. So what are the stereotypes on that if they end up cutting you and sending you to the hospital or killing you? What does society then think of the man who was killed by the woman? Do they give him credit for not hitting her? Or do they think he must have been abusing her and she finally lost it and snapped?
I mean, to be real with you, I've never heard nobody say that, you know, he went out because he wouldn't defend himself.
Right.
I've never heard that. I've always heard the other, you know what I'm saying? Oh, he must have been abusing her and she snapped.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Right. I've never heard anyone say it from the perspective of the man being the victim, you know. And the thing is, a lot of times, you know, we are victims, but we don't speak out because the stereotype is if you're a man and your girl is hitting you with shit, stabbing you, throwing shit on you, doing whatever, if you call the police, you a snitch, you a punk, you weak. So it's like,
well, the fact that you're getting hit and abused, you're weak. Because why can't you do something to stop it? Because if you do something to stop it, it means physically grabbing her to stop her, which then she can call the police and say that you grabbed her and stopped her. You're in a no-win situation. And you can end up dead. You can hit her and go to jail. You can have her lie and say that you did something to her and go to jail. And ultimately, what would you say is the best advice for a man that is in a situation? He loves the woman. Maybe he has kids with her. He's in a situation and it is not healthy. And what is going to end up happening, worst case scenario, is death. Best case scenario, other than actually getting out, would be jail time. But that's taking him away from the woman he loves and his kids. So what is the best advice as a man that you would give another man, because he's not weak, he feels trapped, he doesn't know how to get help?
The answer is already in what you said. If the person is either looking at jail or death, you're already being taken away. So leave. Keep your life and leave.
Wow, she's told me she's going to take the kids away from me.
Well, there's a million men on the planet Earth that's had to deal with, I'm going to take your kids away. And the thing is, they've all at some point got to see their kids. Even if like with me, I have one child that I didn't talk to until right before he turned 18. And he contacted me and told me, hey man, I'm not fixing to let it be. I reach adulthood and you haven't talked to me. You don't know where I'm at. You don't. So I was always told, you know what I mean, that if any of my kids were taken away from me, that at some point they will come looking for me because I'm their father. They're going to want to know who their father is. And, you know, that particular son that I'm speaking about, I mean, it still bothers me to this day that I wasn't there, that I wasn't able to be in his life and raise him like that. But like me and his mom, before we separated, we got into a domestic thing, and like I say, it's not something that I'm proud of. It's something that I own up to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But the situation with me and her, and it wasn't like we were always fighting or anything like that. It was a one-time incident. It was an isolated incident, but it was bad enough to scar both of us. You know what I mean? I never wanted to be that type of guy that hit girls. And when you're growing up seeing it, you always think that, I'll never be that dude. I'll never be that dude. But when you're getting a 40-ounce swung upside your head, you know what I mean? When you're getting kicked in your groin, you know what I mean? When you having somebody that literally trying to hurt you, sometimes that shit goes out the window.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And
it's not always your intent to hit or hurt somebody, but sometimes the situation doesn't allow you to respond that you want to respond. And then it's one thing if your intention was, I never meant to hit her or hurt her, but it's different when a man continuously hits a woman or a woman hits a man and they have that repetitive behavior. They keep doing it.
Right.
There's a difference between
but they're sorry and they're not going to do it again, and they didn't mean to.
But that's the difference that the victims need to understand, that you have to recognize when somebody does it one time and you know that they're really sorry, they're not going to do it again. That's the thing. You have to know that. You have to know in your mind and your heart that if they love me and they care, they're not going to hit me. They don't need to hit me. They'll walk away and leave me alone before they would harm me, because then it's a vicious cycle that's going to keep repeating itself.
Yeah.
And then now I'm going from the victim now to being the abuser.
Mm-hmm.
So the role changes.
I've also seen on both sides, these are not weak women that people or that men will prey on, or weak men that women will prey on. It's almost a challenge to take the strong one and break them all the way down. Exactly. Because now they have them for life, because there's no way that they can recover from where they were, they think anyway. So if somebody, it starts out strong, they keep getting broken down, and they don't take into consideration, a lot of them have kids. So if you have children and your child goes and intentionally touches the base that children not touch and smashes it to the ground, and they get popped, and you say, Mama told you no, you don't touch that. And they say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. And you go and buy another one, and they pick it up the next day and smash it to the ground. Are you going to have a stern conversation with them and love on them and believe them? Or are they going to get their ass beat? And let them do it again the third day and the fourth day, and see if you don't damn near get committed because your child is testing you and lying in your face talking about, they're sorry, they didn't mean to do it. But you'll let a man get away with it, or you'll let your woman get away with it. What is the difference if you wouldn't let your kids get away with it? Because you're teaching your kids these lessons, and they don't see the difference between what they've just done and you hitting mommy or mommy hitting you.
Right.
They don't see the difference. What? You say you're sorry. Why am I getting spanked? Oh, I'm getting hit. See, I'm getting hit.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're getting spanked. There's a difference. There's no difference to them. So, and I'm not saying don't spank your kids. You better beat your kid's ass. I'm a firm believer of that.
Right.
Spare the rod, spoil the child. That's why we have so many issues in society.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying you can't hit on mommy and then think that your child is they're not thinking they're getting disciplined and they're getting spanked appropriately. They're thinking they're being hit like mommy is, or they're being hit like daddy is. And that is how they're going to grow up. And how dare you go and beat the ass of your daughter's boyfriend when he starts hitting her later, when you beat the mom all those years. How dare you, mommy, go and try and pull the hair out of some chick who is swinging on your son when you did nothing but swing on the daddy all those years. That's what you taught him, and that's what you're going to get. Break the cycle and learn how to break the cycle. So how do you do that? How do you break the cycle? Do you go get counseling? Do you just stop? Do you analyze your situation and realize, okay, what's going to happen? Am I going to die if I don't ever talk to my baby daddy again?
You know, with me, the first thing that I had to realize was, what is it about this person that's triggering me? What is it about the conversation? What is it that is pushing me or getting me to that point where it's like, okay, I'm ready to snatch the life out your ass. You know, for me, you know what I mean? Because I'm not one to really go and talk to people about my personal business. I feel like I don't know you when you leave here. You may have the same problem I have, or you may be worse than me. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I don't know you like that. You know what I mean? But like I say, with me, it was a thing where it more or less had to take on a thing of like empathy, learning to put myself really in the other person's shoe, to think about what my mom was going through. Like you say, you know, to think about, okay, my mom, she's married, and this is hypothetical. You know what I mean? She's not dealing with this shit now. She's married to a guy, and, you know, he's beating the shit out of her. And I want to go beat the shit out of him for beating the shit out of my mom. But just last night, I just beat the shit out of my girl. So it's like looking at that and going, okay, I can't be a hypocrite. You know what I mean? I can't say that it's wrong for somebody to jump on my daughter and I'm jumping on somebody else's daughter. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's one of those things where really, you know, we have to learn to be real with ourselves and learn, okay, what is it? What's my problem? Because obviously it's something that's not right. And it might not be that, you know, oh, it's just all me. No, I'm a firm believer that, you know, don't provoke me, don't push me. Leave me alone. You know what I mean? If I'm not messing with you, don't mess with me. You know what I mean? Don't do things to me that you wouldn't want me to do to you. And blatantly don't do things and then insult my intelligence, because that's a lot of times when you dealing with someone, that's also the other thing that leads to people getting their ass whooped and all that type of shit. And I'm not condoning it. I'm just telling the truth. If I know damn well you just went in my bank account and took $5,000 out, you know what I mean? You know, oh, I don't know you two. I don't know. What do you mean? You know what I mean? What do you mean? What, you know, I just walked in the room and just, you know, caught you telling me, hey, well, you know, I'll call you later tonight after you leave. I love you. And you tell me, oh, no, I wasn't talking to a guy. I mean, come on, man. That's the type of stuff to make people go, for real? You really go, I mean, just playing with people's intelligence, playing with people's emotions. Like I say all the time, I'm a Virgo. Don't play with my feelings. Because, you know, I'm better now. You know, I tell people all the time, if you're of the female persuasion and you do me dirty, I got sisters that will kick your ass.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's so true.
I got sisters that I'm not going to jail. I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not fixing to lose my dignity or my self-respect anymore by doing no shit like that. And I mean, really, I try, really, you know, I'm even more mature because I understand violence only begets more violence. So I try not to play into that shit. You know what I mean? You know, talking to someone can't help if you're that type of person. But for me, you know, I'm old school. I'm from that generation. Keep it real. I'm 100. I'm solid. So keep it real with yourself. That'll be my first. You know what I mean? Keep it real with yourself. What is it about that person that pisses you off? And if you can't change it, or that person can't change it, or ain't willing to change it, leave their ass alone. Like I said before, that's gonna always be my answer. Leave them the fuck alone, because ultimately, you can spend your whole life waiting on some shit to change, and from what I've seen, shit don't change. You know what I mean? It don't change.
Okay, but it's really nobody's business because he loves me and I love him, and he said he was sorry, and it's nobody else's business. So you need to stay out of it.
That's not love.
Right. And then you chase away all the people that
That's
are
not
telling
love.
you need out. You have no
That's
support.
not love. If a person's trying to isolate you, number one, that's the first red flag.
Exactly.
Do not allow no one to isolate you and get you away from your friends and family, because that's usually when people do you dirty.
Right.
That I'm speaking on from the experience that my mother went through. You know what I mean? My mom left, moved out of town, moved somewhere where she didn't really have the close relatives that she had like back at home, and her ex-husband, you know, tried to take advantage of that situation to the fullest. And the thing is, you know, the lesson that I learned is no, you know, don't let anyone isolate you. You know what I mean? Whether it's the crazy boyfriend, whether it's the crazy girlfriend, you know what I mean? Don't let nobody do that to you, you know. And the I love you, no, love don't hurt like that. And that's just real deal, you know what I mean? A person can't love you if they don't love themselves. And the proof that they love themselves is how they carry themselves. So, you know, I tell anyone,
again,
don't.
You take it back to your kids, or if you don't have kids, you have had parents, even if they're not still here. If you put it in that perspective of, you know how much you love your kids, you know how much you wouldn't want anything to happen to your kids, you know how much you love your parents and how you wouldn't want anything to happen to your parents. So knowing that type of love, would you turn around and hurt them and want to watch them cry and suffer and be in fear every day? And would you call that love, or would you feel like shit? Just because somebody says that they love you, maybe they do love you in their own little way, but that's not enough, and it's not okay. And there's somebody that's going to love you more. So don't let them tell you this is it.
Right.
This is the end all be all. I'm all you got. You don't have anywhere to go. I'm the one that loves you. Nobody else loves you like I love you.
Only way that'd be true if that was the last person on the planet. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, don't fall for that shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, and when somebody really loves you, you know it. You know what I mean? You feel it. You know, when a person see you and they genuinely light up, that's love. You know what I mean? And it's not something that you can fake. It's not artificial. You know what I'm saying? It's not fluorescent light. It's natural, real light. It's real sunlight. You can't fake that.
You seem as though you're speaking from experience.
Yeah, I am. You know what I'm saying? I am. You know what I mean? You know, I've gone through some things, but, you know, I'm finally in a place now where I got some very good things going on, some very beautiful things going on, you know, but that's not for this, that's not for this show. This is domestic violence, and we keeping my love affairs and all that out of domestic violence.
You know, they don't need to know the ins and outs. I was just taking it to another level of hope. It's not, you know, dun dun dun. Dark,
Rebecca, you putting them people out there in my business. You know what I'm saying? She over here dry snitching.
But, you know, what we can say is that I've seen my brother go from a young adult to a mature man.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen him with different relationships. I've seen him when he's been at his most peaceful times in his life to being upset and angry. And I know that for my brother, he has sisters, so he has a daughter, he has children, he has daughters. He doesn't want to see his nieces or any female being hit or hurt. But the thing that I think makes it so much harder is that a lot of times society is looking at what the man does to the woman, but there's a flip side to that. There are females that bring it out in the man, and
they're abusive.
They're good men that don't want to harm a female, and then now they're stuck with hitting this person, and then they're back and forth and they don't want to leave. But it's like, at what point do you say, okay, look, this person, like you said, she's not good for me. It's okay to be in separate homes, love your children, raise your kids separately, love each other, and not be together, because you have to know when something is poisonous and dangerous to you, your health, your family, versus something that's love, you know, you have to love yourself first. Like you said, you can't continue to just keep saying, you know, I'm going to take him back. He apologized. I forgive him.
But
You can't. You got to love yourself first.
Put it on me like him before, and no woman has gone down on me like her before.
But you haven't been with everybody before either.
Right.
So.
I've been with a lot of people though.
Right.
So what if
A
there's
lot
nobody
ain't
better?
everybody.
A lot ain't everybody.
A lot ain't everybody.
That's right.
A lot ain't everybody. Yes, yeah. But no, you know, that's real.
Right.
You know, then and this is the other side of it too that I gotta speak on, because I think, you know, it might be, well, personal experience. It's wrong, okay. I hit a girl, I felt bad for it. You know what I mean? Made a promise to never do it again. But then I deal with shit like pushing my buttons to see if I would.
Testing you. Yeah.
Right. You know. And I mean, so much so to where, I mean, doing things that were like unthinkable just to make me go there, to be able to say that, you know, you're the same person, you ain't changed. And that's fucked up, because I'm doing everything in my ability to change. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm letting you spit in my face. I'm letting you do the unthinkable.
But with abusers, that's the thing though. You can't change. If you change and get better, what the hell am I going to do?
But that
you're going to
role-
leave me.
Right.
if
That
you
role
change and
just
get
got
better.
reversed though, because now this person is being the emotional abuser against her physical abuser. So it changes. And then now you're both victims because you're both treating each other like crap.
You know, and I mean, I stuck in for as long as I could in the name of trying to make up for the wrongs that I did. You know what I mean? But in the end, it was like, no matter what good that I tried to do, I could never escape my past. I could never escape, you know, what I did. And, you know, it like I say, for me, it was just one of the things where, you know, I had to just go, you know what, all right, I'll forever be a dirtbag to you. Fuck it, I'm out. You know,
because forgiveness doesn't have to do with works. If you forgive yourself and you know that you're sorry, and they forgive you and they know that you're sorry, you don't have to bring flowers home every day. You don't have to rub her feet every day and make up for it every day, because that means there's still guilt and remorse there and you haven't forgiven yourself. So, you know, you'll never be able to make up for it and be a better person and do this and do that, because there's no forgiveness there. You haven't forgiven yourself. She hasn't forgiven you. And vice versa. I'm not just putting it on the man side, but if there's no forgiveness there, you can't make that up. There's no way to make that up in any situation. But so there are young girls right now who have not, maybe they just didn't have a father figure around all the time. And they have young children, maybe a new baby. And they're in the beginning phases of a toxic relationship. And they have people they could go to. But you know what, Mom, you don't understand. You don't understand. He loves me and I love him, and you don't understand what that feels like. You're old and you don't understand. So what do we say to these young girls who believe we don't understand and we don't know where they're coming from? And what are the warning signs? What's going to happen? Is their life going to fall apart because they don't have this man anymore?
I have a young daughter that's in a similar situation. She has a 2-year-old daughter, and her baby's dad, he hits on her. He hit her. And she said to me, Mom, you and my dad used to fight. And I said, well, we argued, but it was never a physical. But she goes, Mom, that's the same thing. So she pointed out to me that the abuse that I went through, she now thinks that it was okay because that's what she saw with us. She thinks, you don't know he loves me, you have no idea. But I'm always there for her. But I just can't get through to her that she can raise her child and then have a cordial relationship with her kid's father, and he doesn't have to be in the picture, because now her daughter's going to go through that. Her daughter's going to think that it's okay. And she's going to think that, oh, well, my mom and dad argued. Is she going to teach her daughter, Milani, this is not what I want for you? Or is she going to teach her daughter, it's okay because grandma went through it?
Yeah.
It's a cycle.
At what point do you break the cycle and say enough is enough, and put yourself in the position where you think about your baby being hit? And there are situations like that where if things get out of control to the point where your woman hits you or your man hits you, you haven't heard of the situations where they grab the baby and throw him up against the wall to get back at you?
Right.
Then what? Are you going to be able to wake up in the morning? Can you look at your man who threw your 2-year-old up against the wall? No, he'd never do that. Look it up. Google it. Look up the examples of how many children have died at the hands of their fathers in a domestic dispute, or died at the hands, or the mothers who went in and drowned all the children in the bathtub. Right. And did they die? I mean, we're thinking, oh, I wish you would do that. And then that takes it to a whole nother level. Is that domestic violence, or is that just justice? That we take it into our hands to take care of the person that killed the baby. That's another discussion. But what are you going to do? Start thinking through the process of, this isn't just today. And it's not just that nobody understands how much this person loves you. There are other people that have been through it, and there are other people that didn't get out. And there are other people that have to wake up every morning and look at these little size 2T toddler clothes that their baby will never be in again, because of somebody that they were warned they should not be around anymore. They didn't want to listen because they believed it would never go there. And now this person's still, and maybe they're in jail, but they're crying and they're sorry. And they never meant to hurt their baby, just like they never meant to hurt you. But it's too late. And now what? There is a point where it is too late. And it is up to every person to decide when enough is enough. It is not just as simple as saying, well, just stop. But at some point, enough is enough. And there are systems in place. If you don't have a mom and you don't have a brother and you don't have cousins and friends and people who actually give a shit, there are systems in place and phone numbers you can call. And we will post that on the website, and I'll give you that information at the end of the show. You're not alone, and it's not going to be as difficult as you think. It's a matter of making that choice and sticking to it. Don't go back. Okay, yeah, you have kids, and you're not going to become one of those moms that says you can't see your kids because you don't want to be with me, and you don't. No, it's not about the drama and the retaliation. It's about you being healthy and your kids being healthy, and being together is toxic. Don't go back. Establish child support, establish visitation, and stick to the rules. But you don't need to have dinner with your significant other or ex. You don't have to have dinner with your ex. You don't have to spend the night with them just because you have kids together. Make a clean separation, and it's going to hurt, and it's going to be hard, and it's going to suck. I can't say it's going to feel good, and the light's going to come on, and the heavens are going to open, and money's going to fall from it. But somewhere between 24 hours, 24 days, and maybe 24 months, you're going to look back, and you're going to think, I can't believe I spent so much time in that relationship, and look at how much time I wasted, and how much I could have done this, I could have done that, and you're going to have a bunch of regrets. But two, you're going to be relieved that you made that choice, and you're going to kiss your now 4 or 5-year-old as you're seeing them off to their first day of kindergarten, instead of thinking that you could have lost them.
And a lot of the relationships that you chose to no longer have with people that you removed from your life because of you being in a domestic situation, those people are going to come back into your life in a more positive light and be more supportive. And don't think that just because, oh, well, my aunt told me I shouldn't be with him, I'm not talking to her anymore, and you're ready to get out. Don't think that you can't reach back out to the people that you feel are not there for you, because when you make that phone call, they're going to come because they're going to say she's ready. They're going to know you're ready.
Right. But be ready.
Right.
When you make the phone call, be ready. There are people that say, I can't take it. And they rush to the rescue to pick them up, and then they turn around and go back. Right. And they turn around and go back until you can actually push people away in your life by making the same dumb decision over and over again. Definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different result. So you're going to have to make a different decision. But when you do actually make the right decision and you make that phone call, it's about being humble, not, well, I know I wasn't talking to, cry, male or female, break down, let the person know that you're for real and that you want help. If you're not a crier, you don't have to cry. I saw Chip cover his face like, don't cry, man. What? Don't cry. Be strong. Be strong.
Check this out. Hey, and shoot, guys can call for help too.
That's right.
I'm telling you, I'm not gonna say no names, but I had an ex that wasn't going for it, so I had to call my mom, call in some cavalry, like, hey, I need y'all to come get me up out of here. You know what I mean?
That's true.
It happens.
Yeah.
You know.
You're listening to Blaze Up Radio. This is Rebecca Miss PR, and we're going to take a short break. This is Rebecca Miss PR, and you're listening to Blaze Up Radio, where today's discussion is domestic violence. Again, we have C Alpha in the studio. We have his beautiful sister Anitra and 2Cav, who has been quietly listening and watching all night. But we're actually going to close out the show today and let 2Cav do that.
Oh, man.
No pressure.
No pressure.
What did you take from this?
I took that what we all need to do is all come together, love each other, bring peace, because peace is the ultimate goal. In order to have a great relationship, you have to have peace in your relationship. If you want it to grow, you need peace. If you don't have peace, it will destruct. So, main goal, communication, keep everything on the table, love each other, and peace will bring happiness to your relationship.
And if you don't have that and can't attain peace,
leave. And we out here.
There you go. You heard it here, right here on Blaze Up Radio. If you cannot have peace, can't find peace, can't create peace, or be at peace in your relationship, leave.
Peace.
Peace.
This is Rebecca Miss PR, and thank you for joining us today on Blaze Up Radio, brought to you by DJ C Alpha and True Illuminati LLC. Today's discussion has been about domestic violence. For those of you who may be going through it, please feel free. You can email us at blazeup@trueilluminati.com, or look on the website, or Google azlawhelp.org. That's azlawhelp.org. They have a bunch of resources, people you can call, shelters you can go to. If you don't feel comfortable contacting us, please contact someone and get the assistance that you need. Again, thank you for joining us, DJ C Alpha.
Yeah, right.
Thank you, Anitra.
Thank you.
And thank you, 2Cav.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you all out there for listening to Blaze Up Radio, and join us next time on Get Your Life.
Bitch, it's your life. It's your life.